Hi, it's Kim McGrath from Expressions of the Universe with your May 2025 stars and cards. I have astrology for the month of May and cards for every zodiac sign. Today, I will be reading for each zodiac sign from Colette Baron Reed's The Dream Weaver's Oracle, which is a pretty funky looking deck. Know that I'm coming in late, but time is going by so quickly. The month has already gotten away from me. So I apologize for that. And then also, too, it's like the energy is so overwhelming that it kind of freezes me. Like I, I don't have the ability to articulate everything that's going on because, if you're living in anywhere in the world, you're feeling it too. Watching the birds coming to the feeders in front of me. So let's get started. Going to share my screen with you. PowerPoint mode, point mode. All right, here's your May 2025 stars and cards. I will timestamp this to make it easier for everyone. My lovely little disclaimer that this is for joy and folly. May is Mental Health Awareness Month. So please take care of your mental health, especially with the North Node and South Node in Pisces and Virgo. And we have the stars. So I borrowed these slides from Kepler College because I just didn't have time to make my own, and they were pretty beautiful. Real quick rundown. May 2nd, May 4th. May 4th, Pluto stationed to go retrograde at 3 degrees Aquarius. And why is that so important? Because it's in the fixed sign of Aquarius. There's intensity there with Pluto. We're going back over things in the realm of our friendships, humanity, groups of people. We're taking a look at what or who is no longer serving us. That's the basic gist of this retrograde, and I believe it carries all the way through October this year. Also, we get a fundamental change, a sense of a fundamental change, that something outside of ourselves is coming into our life. There are major endings here with Pluto retrograde, like a snake shedding its skin, especially as Pluto hits the different transits, major life endings, and then major new beginnings. But it can take us down a really deep, quiet place, almost like a hermit type of energy with this. It will be at 3 degrees all month and all of next month. And it's going to be really drilling down into the depths of groups of people and our friendships for the most part. Also, our dreams, hopes, and wishes are part of that Aquarian energy. It is a fixed sign. There's a stubbornness there. If you have any planets or angles, particularly at like 2, 3, 4, 5 degrees of on the angles or in the fixed signs, personal planets, especially on the 4th of May, which has already passed, and for the next few months, you're really going to be feeling this. Pluto's going to go back over all of those things, those friendships that we're going to be highlighting, especially around the full moon. And so it could be a little bit tough for some of us. Also, artificial intelligence comes up with Pluto in Aquarius. There's also a warlike energy, a fighting type of energy. There's a need for power, but with it being retrograde, there's like a pullback or a loss of power. Um, see what else? The other interesting thing, which I'll show you in the week too, is how Uranus is coming together at this full moon that we have coming up in Scorpio with a fixed star algol. We'll talk about that. Mercury enters Taurus, and that is a time to slow down, slow our minds down, be very careful about what we're saying, how we're saying it, because there could be a volatility within our speech, especially Mercury will be squaring Pluto. I think it's in week 2. Yeah, Mercury squares Pluto at 3 degrees. Um, that could be a little feisty, especially because Mercury, the communicator, Pluto, the planet of death, endings, and beginnings, in Taurus, Aquarius, that square, we could be really cruel with our speech. We could suffer from obsessive thoughts and find it difficult to think positively and calmly. We could be focused on our own thoughts and opinions and may not be listening to others. So that's what I'm seeing in that aspect. And that's coming in right at the same time of the full moon. It's the full flower moon on May 12th at 22 degrees Scorpio. And why is that so important? Well, 22.5 degrees is considered one of the world points. You've got 0 degrees, 7.5, 15, 22.5, 45. I know there's more in there, 90-degree angle, like the angles, and you're going to see the chart is on the angles. So it's a really potent full moon for us. May 14th, the sun sextile trine the moon's nodes at 24. So this is also a very potent day. I'm really concerned, especially going into the third week, which I'll get to in a moment, about Saturn moving into Aries and conjuncting Neptune in Aries. That will be on a world point at 0 degrees of Aries. The last time that we had a Saturn conjunction on a world point was right before the pandemic 5 years ago when Saturn and Jupiter came together. So that really does concern me. On May 17th, the sun in Taurus will conjunct Uranus at 27 degrees Taurus, and it will also be on the fixed star Algol, which in mythology, Algol represents the Medusa, and it's in the constellation of Perseus. I think, is it in the constellation of Perseus? I think so. Because now I'm thinking, is it Pegasus? Perseus, because Perseus cut off Medusa's head. So we can see people maybe literally having their heads cut off, or it often represents people in power and high places losing their head or losing their position, being ousted from their position, falling from grace in a sense. And then Mercury will also be squaring Mars, so there's arguments and fights there. There are a lot of tensions. Just peek at my notes real quick to see if there was anything else that I wanted. Yeah, it's specifically linked to leaders losing their heads, losing their position, very often falling from power. Right, let me show you the chart. Sorry, I don't feel like I'm in a flow like I normally am. All right, so here's your full moon chart. Move these captions over to the side so you can see the chart. So here we have the moon at 22 degrees, 12 minutes of Scorpio, the sun at 22 minutes, 12 degrees of Taurus, which is its opposite. There's Uranus at 26:59. Algol, that fixed star, is 26:31. You won't see it here because I don't have it displayed, but just imagine it is right here in between. Then I also show Saturn almost in its final degree of Pisces. Take a look at this full moon and the sun. Of course, we have everything jammed in this ninth house, so it doesn't appear as the sun is on the angle, but we have fixed signs on the angle. So this full moon is bringing in a sense of rigidity. There's a stubbornness within that 22 super powerful point degree, along with Uranus. Taurus is the earth sign, Scorpio, water sign, digging to the depths, like the mud and the sludge. Something is coming out that will be illuminated. With this combination right here alone and the fixed signs, earthquakes, wouldn't be surprised if there was seismic activity. I did read that there was an earthquake in Tennessee. There's also an under ocean volcano that looks like it's getting ready to erupt off the coast of Oregon. Now, we've also seen some pretty awful earthquakes like Miramar recently. Well, this has been in this position for quite some time. So I think it's just going to even build even stronger. I also talked about Mercury at 3 degrees, squaring Pluto at 3 degrees. This is that speaking to others cruelly, only thinking of yourself, having obsessive thoughts about things, really not thinking or hearing or listening to other people, just really uber focused on the self. So it's a very intense time for everybody. See if definitely extreme weather going forward, natural and unnatural reason. Definitely, I think this would also be a good time for you to have an emergency preparedness kit. Start pulling that together, just so that you have it on hand. Taurus also rules money. Money, things that we value. So there could be things coming out with that. The full moon could be shining a light on long repressed secrets, because that would be Scorpio for sure. Things that we haven't seen, especially related to financial things in the world, hidden money, invested money, criminal money. Scorpio does represent all of that murkiness, underhanded money, underground money, things like that. Also, sexual secrets or some kind of sexual scandal could be coming out with this full moon. The full moon does illuminate things. Uranus in Taurus is also linked to food production. Um, Definitely with Neptune in Aries, and then soon Saturn will be joining that. That Aries is hot, it's dry. Typically with those aspects, we tend to see droughts. Now, I don't know about you, but it's been raining pretty good bit around here lately, more than it was last year. I think we went something like 13 or 14 weeks without any rain on the East Coast, which is absolutely unheard of during the summertime. And it kept showing up on the radar, and then it would evaporate because it was so hot. Um, so with Neptune and Saturn in Aries, we could have a very long, dry, droughtvol summer. All right, let's move on. Let's move on. So here we are in week 3. We have Jupiter sextile Chiron. Chiron is in Aries. It's wounds of the self, wounds of the I am. Jupiter could be exacerbating the wounds that we have within. Um, because I can't see it putting a salve over it. Jupiter is in Gemini. It's almost finished. It's getting ready to move in to Cancer, which it will be exalted. So that'll be a beautiful season. That happens in June. But for now, some things that really trigger the I am within us, wounds of the self, the way that we feel about ourselves, the way that we see ourselves to be coming up, especially after this full moon. With the sun being in Taurus, the self-worth and the values are often linked to our financial standing in the world. So that could be linked there. Sun says May 20th, Sun enters Gemini. Woohoo, Gemini season. Now, I told you I borrowed these slides. Oh, you know what? I totally screwed up this slide. I thought that this said Sun enters, and I can't fix it while I'm on here. It was correct. It said Saturn enters Aries, and I crossed it out and wrote Gemini because I was thinking Sun in Gemini, but no, that happens on May 20th that the Sun will enter Gemini. So lots of chatty conversations, our minds going a mile a minute. I can't see how my mind could go any faster than it already is. And my friend Tracy and I were talking the other day saying it still feels like January. This has been the longest January ever. And here we are in May. This feels like January will never end. It's been crazy. And the world is just spinning by. And I don't know if any of you have been feeling this way, but I can't even believe that half the year is almost over because I still feel like I'm back in January. Um, Sun trining Pluto. That should be really good. That should make us feel powerful. This should make us be having some maybe some not so pleasant conversations, but some very interesting conversations are going to come out with that. There could also be verbal power struggles, and Mercury conjunct that Uranus at 27 degrees with Algol. We could see some some fluctuations in the markets. This could be when you're cutting people out of your life too. You just get to the point where you're just ready to let people go. And I'm sorry about this. And on May 24th, Saturn will enter Aries. And that's going to be pretty powerful. I do have some notes about that, and I can't get to them fast enough. So the thing that does worry me about Saturn and Neptune coming together, and they do this dance all year, back and forth. They never quite conjunct until February 20th of 2026. However, we have seen that Aries energy, especially because Uranus will be moving into Gemini in July. The American Revolution, the way the planets are lined up, Pluto in Aquarius, the American Civil War, that also goes with, the British were at war during the American Civil War, also the French Revolution. You've got World War One, World War Two, and all the planets are in those positions all at the same time. During those wars, they were only, like it was one or two planets, and now they're all coming together at the same time. So, gotta wonder a little bit about what's happening there. Are we going to go to war? If you think about it, probably at least a third or more of the world is at war with each other. So, that it does concern me about that. You're going to have to stay tuned. I'm going to have to throw together a Saturn in Aries video. I did do the Neptune in Aries video already, so you can go and watch that. Then week 4, we have Mercury entering Gemini. That's when things get really, really chatty. Mercury will sextile Saturn. If I do go back to Saturn into Aries, Saturn restricts, it confines, but it also builds foundations. And so, what can I leave you with? Aries is independent. It's a pioneer. It wants to go, go, go. It's full of action. And so with Saturn coming in and wanting to restrict, Saturn's saying, slow your roll, not so fast. I want you to plan and plan ahead and really know what it is you're doing. Don't go rushing headlong into these great ideas. So you're coming up with ideas during this time. This is a 2.5 year transit that Saturn will be in Aries. You're not rushing into anything. You will feel compelled to rush into things. But Saturn's asking you to build a really solid foundation. Make sure that you are on sure footing before you initiate, before you take that leap of faith, and jump off that cliff like the Fool card. May 26th, we have the new moon at 6 degrees Gemini, and that'll be really beautiful, especially for communications. The number 6 is represented by material gain, abundance, love, harmony. It is the card in the tarot deck, the Lovers, number 6, and you'll see that in a second. So yeah, and then we have that Mercury Cazimi at 9 degrees of Gemini, where communications will be blowing up, and I think that we could definitely be seeing some kind of big reveal in the news around this time. Keep your eyes open, keep your eyes and ears open for that. All right, and here we have the new moon, May 26th. It's at 11:02 p.m. Eastern. And down here, so if you're on the East Coast, Central, it's in the fifth house of play and romance and children. And it's such a lovely, lovely new moon that we have. However, we do have Mercury here, but trailing right behind is Uranus. So expect the unexpected. I would say expect the unexpected in a good way, possibly. Um, I have Neptune here at 1 degree of Aries. I just wanted to point that out. And we also have Saturn right here at 0 Aries. It would have just entered in only 2 days prior. And that's in the third house of communications, our neighborhood, siblings. The media is definitely in the third house. So there could be some big announcements coming towards the end of the month with this new moon. Trying to see. I mean, this new moon is making a trine to Pluto. My notes on that real quick. This up at the top so that I can see. So we've got new moon, we've got the trine to the sun, um, powerful person with leadership skills. We could be hearing something in the news with that intense energy, quick to get to the point. Maybe brushing over things instead of savoring the energy. So I would still recommend slowing down, slowing your roll. And there's a little bit of underhanded motivation there because it's like you the wool could be pulled over your eyes during this time, or you could be taken advantage of by a smooth talker. Let's see. What else do we have going on in there that is of importance? You've got Venus Chiron making an inconjunct to the South Node. What that is saying is, I feel like a lot of people, this aspect, Venus Chiron, wounds of the self, and the way that we value ourselves, making an inconjunct, there's an indifference or like a miscommunication with that South Node in Virgo. The mind is overthinking. We're worried about what other people think about ourselves. But, we also have Eris here, the sister of Mars. And she's an angry bitch, I've got to tell you. She wants justice, and she's not a happy camper. What I garner from that aspect is, and just observation globally, is that there are so many people in despair, so many people being really hateful, full of hatred, um, really just not nice things going on in the world globally. And what I was feeling about that, which could really be shifted through the full and new moon, is you have to realize if you are so angry and hateful, it's not because of other people, even though you may think that it is. That's what this South Node in conjunction feels like to me. And you have to realize that if you're feeling this way, it's because there's something inside of you. That's what these Aries planets are showing me. There's something inside of you that is making you feel that way. And you're just blaming it on external factors in the world. And so with Pluto in retrograde, it's it's a chance for us to go back and take a look, a deep dive. And then you've got that full moon in Scorpio, which is really getting to the bottom of the things that are hidden within ourselves and trying to reveal what it is if you are in that position of hatred and anger and grief and anything that isn't light and airy and beautiful. If you're not in that, you need to really dig deep during this time to get to the bottom of it so that you can enjoy life. Like I was driving down the road the other day, and the way that the trees were glistening, the sun was glistening through the trees. I thought, my God, look how beautiful that is. How can anybody be in a bad mood with how beautiful everything is around us? I don't know if you heard that, but there were sirens going by. Um, but yeah, you just go out into nature and take your shoes off and get grounded in the earth. That will dispel any negative ions, negative energy, negative thoughts that you're feeling. Work in the garden, get your hands dirty because there is like a microbial, um, can't think of the word. There's, like a chemical reaction that dirt in your hands and the way it feels and the way it smells. It has an effect on people. It's almost like an antidepressant. So yeah, you got to spend time in nature. And I know there are a lot of people that really hate being in nature. I can't imagine that, but to each his own. But are you feeling anxiety? Like if so, you've got to turn off the news. You have to get off social media. Um, you just have to find other ways of like detaching and coming back into yourself because with the way that the world is going, it's very easy to be angry. It's very easy to be hateful and feel hatred um, towards everything. So that's I'm going to get off my soapbox uh, on that. So thanks for easing me for a moment. All right, now I have your cards and we're going to get down to it. Now, for the cards, you want to pay attention to your sun sign, your moon sign, your rising sign, any stellium or cluster of planets you may have in your chart. If you don't know what your chart is, you can order a reading from me, or I do have an Astrology 101 video that will show you how to pull your own chart. You do have to have your date, time, and place of birth for that. As I previously showed you, we're using Colette Baron Reed's Dream Weaver Oracle cards. Before I dive into that, I want to into what am I doing? Um, you, I'm trying, I'm trying to hide self view and it's not working. I'm going to pause this for a second so I can figure it out. All right, I think I figured out what I was doing. Sorry about that. All right, the tarot cards associated with May are the Empress and the Lovers. So Empress represents Taurus because it is about, well, I have that on the next slide. Oh, and I wrote the moon. I didn't fix this. Oh my goodness. Anyway, um, scratch that. I thought that I changed both of these, but the Empress is about abundance, beauty, nature, the senses, and self-worth. And so therefore you see this maternal figure carrying the earth in her belly. And it is about Mother Gaia, but Taurus represents money and everything that's beautiful and delicious and smells good and is beautiful to look at. And then we have at the end of the month when the sun moves into Gemini, the lovers, and that is card number 6 for Gemini. It's also the 6th month, and the symbol is harmony, love, unity, but also highlights the concept of choice between two paths or options. The presence of two figures represents duality. Oh, before I get into that, I already talked about to look up your sun sign, your moon sign, your rising sign. Cards ready that I have here. So I have them up on the screen. However, I also want to look at them while I'm doing this reading. So for Aries, this down here, for Aries, you have card number 3. When Coyote calls your name. And that card represents the essential meaning is divine detours, the value of not getting what you think you want, discovering greater treasure when you are forced to change course. Think about like the coyote's going to be howling to you. Sometimes you find yourself confused about your direction. You might have been told, you might have been so sure that you were meant for a certain situation, this love, this job or thing, yet you're forced to walk away. All the signs have been pointing to potential magic and fulfillment, but somehow things are not turning out the way you expected or wanted. When Coyote calls your name, you're being given a gift, a great gift. This apparent loss, detour, or change of course has been set in motion to give you what you truly need. The dream weavers know the truth in your heart. They know the perfect reflections of your greatest dreams are already available and woven into the fabric of your life, just waiting for you to discover them. But they are meant to come in a different form than the one that you have been so attached to. In this moment, it's important for you to surrender your expectations and trust in divine timing and form. When Coyote calls your name, you will know this way was the best way for you after all. Your life is woven true, and the new threads of your experience sparkle. There really was no loss or disappointment at all, only a new meaningful adventure and a beautiful new story to tell. And I think this is really important for anybody with prominent Aries in their chart, because with Neptune and Saturn entering Aries, these are very long transits. There are huge shifts that are happening to you. And, you know, Saturn will be there for 2.5 years. Maybe slowing things down, maybe slowing your progress down, not giving you what you think you want. And Neptune will be there for 14 years. And so with this being such a long transit, it's not happening overnight. The rug isn't being ripped out from underneath your feet, but there could be great disappointments happening to you and things not turning out the way that you originally envisioned them. So take this card to heart, knowing that anything that ends or is taken away from you, that's because something better is on its way. Taurus. Taurus, your card is if the fox can't find his tail, which is pretty funny. This is card 11. So that is a master number to begin with. Um, I like when I pull this card for myself because it really kind of puts things into perspective for me. The essential meaning of this card is digging deep into your own authentic knowing, avoiding compromise, and chasing your tail. So, if a fox can't find his tail, it might be because he's chasing the wrong things and looking in the wrong direction, one that is unnatural to him. Sometimes you might find yourself compromising to avoid conflict. If you're coming from a place of fear, that may work in the moment, but you may still lose something about yourself in the exchange. You know this deep down, but occasionally you need to be reminded to stay true to your inner knowing so you don't trade your truth in acquiescence, giving in to someone's expectations or perceived dominance just to keep the peace. The same goes for following trends. Oh, everyone appears to be doing it, so you do it just to fit in or because you think it looks successful, but it's not sustainable. Now is the time to get clear on your unique qualities and offerings based on your values. When you do this, it's automatically good for everyone. Don't say yes unless you really mean yes, or you'll feel ungrounded. That said, if you're clear that you don't have all the facts, it's okay to change your mind, but only do it if it's right for you. You can ask for more information so you can understand the situation better, avoiding the defensive reaction, including any assumptions you may have, and aligning better with the idea of win-win. Then you'll stop chasing your tail. You'll come from a gentle, grounded, empowered place. So much good is possible when you do this. I really love this, especially with Uranus in its final degrees of Taurus. It's getting ready to move into Gemini by the second week, I think July 9th, second week of July, July 9th. And it will be a fresh and powerful new energy. So it is time to get really clear about what it is that you want, what it is that you value. That's what the Taurus energy is. All right, so moving on to Gemini. Gemini, you have card number 10, all the diamonds in the sky. The essential meaning is limitless potential and possibilities unique to you, moving out of limiting beliefs, reaching for the stars, and trusting you will reach them. Often, the only things that separate us from the life we want to live are our beliefs and the inner stories that we tell ourselves about them. Perhaps you've been conditioned to see yourself as limited, less than, unworthy. Maybe you're worried about the consequences of stepping out of your comfort zone right now, or the results of your expansion may not please others. Could it be you don't know the how, so everything looks like too much work and it makes you feel discouraged? The star you're reaching for may seem out of reach for you, but if you remember you come from the stars, you will see the threads of destiny the dream weavers have placed for you to find. Dream big and don't be afraid to be honest with yourself about what you really want to experience. As soon as you claim it, let go of your resistance to surrendering and shift from merely wanting to consciously intending. You will see the thread connecting you to the star. that was there all along. Step by step, the way forward will be revealed, and the how will be in the very capable hands of the universe. Believe in the power of the divine that exists in all things, and especially within you. Believe in yourself, and soon you will see the magic. No man made construct can rob you of your inner light or the expression of your dreams, as they are sacred and holy. Keep going. You're on the right track. Like all the precious diamonds sparkling in the sky, this star of yours matters. That was pretty deep. All right, Cancer. Cancers, you have card number 4. That's about finding your tribe, finding your vibe. And it is if the river flows this way. The essential meaning of this card is the importance of going with the flow, feeling the sense of being one with the currents of life, trusting you will never drown, as your destiny wants you to go this way. The flow state is a way of surrendering and trusting the benevolent forces of life. It's surprising that we don't spend more time here, as it's an amazing creative place to be. Magical and peaceful, yet brimming with potential. Flow is a state that's readily accessible through any activity that captures your effortless focus, such as meditation, dancing, painting, or even taking a shower. Right now, you're being invited and guided to go with the flow, to allow the currents of life to move you forward. You don't need to struggle, to plan or strategize, to resist or push. This is not about effort. This magical river knows where it's going and where you fit into its plan. Allowing and surrendering is what's called for now. No matter if the water becomes choppy or feels like it's carrying you away, you will not drown. This is one of the most creative and life enhancing times for you. And all you must do is allow. When your inspired ideas come to the surface, follow along. Whatever is calling for your attention, immerse yourself in it and see where it takes you. If the river flows this way, if if the river flows this way, go with the current for only the highest good. Just keep doing what you've been doing, weaving your dreams and desires in a graceful rhythm, and all will be well. And I love this for the Cancers because Jupiter will be entering Cancer by the middle of June. And Jupiter is exalted, meaning it's like in its most delicious state when it is in Cancer. This is a 12-month, one full year cycle. And I feel that not only for the Cancers, but especially for the Cancers, but for all of us, this is really going to be beautiful energy. And we need this positive, lovely deliciousness. So get ready, buckle up, and get ready to flow down that river. All of us. Leo, Leo, you have card number 5, which often symbolizes to me big changes ahead. It says, let your dreams be woven true. The essential meaning of this card is the card of the dream weavers, co-creation, partnership with divine powers. Trusting your dreams will be in alignment with your soul's destiny, surrendering your will to a higher power. Human beings are often human sorry, let me start over. Human beings often believe they create their world through the power of determination and will alone. Hard work and effort, striving, ambition, focus, imagination, and desire, all worthy components of reality creation, but they are not the only ones. To truly be an empowered co creator and work your magic in the world, you need to remember that you are in a partnership with your higher power. This is a metaphor of the dream weavers. It is a reminder that you are never alone. There are always divine forces at work on your behalf. Listening to the stories in your mind and heart and reflecting them in the outer world. There is another message here about the strands in the fabric of reality that are constantly being woven. While there are things you cannot change or control, there are also threads you choose to weave into this fabric of life based on the electric force within you. You dance between surrender and creation, fueled by your inspired dreams and intentions. Now is the time for pushing harder, but for allowing things to organically take their course. Do your part, taking your steps, but surrendering the rest to the divine. Remember, your job is to know your why and hold space for the energy of your dream. In weaving the sacred essence of your desire, the how of it will be revealed. Weave and let go, weave and release. Let your dreams be woven true, and like magic, things will seem to work out even when you're not concentrating on the pattern. Virgo, card number 37, which adds to a 10. This is about manifestation and a new path coming. It's a time to dance around the sun, which would have been perfect if it were Virgo season. Mm. The essential meaning of this card is reinvention, learning from past mistakes, surrendering to the lesson with grace, and maturity. Something transformative is happening. Sorry. Something transformative is happening within you. All that friction, irritation, and resentment, the growing pains, identifying with your wounds, and then releasing them. You've been through rough seas for sure. Now you hold the precious pearl of wisdom in your hands, and heartache and psyche. You are forever changed. After all, you cannot change the pearl back to grit, nor would you want to. Yes, you might get triggered here and there by the ghosts of the past, but nothing compared to the arduous journey of learning you have been on. You will notice, excuse me, I gotta get a cup of tea. I mean, a sip of tea. You will notice how quickly you can turn things around, how quickly you can become, how quiet you can become in the middle of a storm, how adept you've become at knowing when to speak up or to step away, how mature you are now. This is a time to look at how far you've come and to be mindful of opportunities, relationships, and interactions that remind you of the ones you've been through already. You do not have to learn the same things repeatedly. You have the choice now to move forward or walk away. Some things cannot be changed no matter how much you want them to. Certainly, you know you can change only yourself, even if you want to influence another person to see things your way. That didn't work before and it won't work now. Take things at face value and trust your intuition to avoid unnecessary grit. Treasure is waiting for you on the other side of this situation. Whatever choice you make now, if you move forward and discover it's not for you, you can always change your mind. The point is, your next move is about having an experience. Because you already have accumulated so many pearls of wisdom, you can trust yourself to make the right one. Breathe. You've got this. And I've been talking for so long already that I'm starting to lose my voice. Always happens, doesn't it? All right, Libra. Libra, you have card number 44. And I know it's really kind of hard to see, but it's Weaver knows that all is God, or I should say, that all is the universe. That's how I see it. Um, it is the last card in the deck, by the way. 44, master number, my favorite number. And that is about finding all the things that really bring you joy, finding the people that bring you joy, finding your tribe. The essential meaning of this card, know that all is the universe, is the conscious universe is the source of supply. Spirit is fundamental to life. The mystical is the primary reality. The weavers know that all is God. Do you? This is a profound magical time in your life, and it's important that you recognize your relationship with your higher power as an essential and primary one. And you can use whichever, um, whatever you call that higher power. I say the universe, some people say God, some people, there's so many words that you could use. Um, you choose yours. Consider all the gifts of your very existence. When you breathe, ask yourself, who is breathing you? What force moves through you, animating you and those you love? The universe is the spark of life within you and nature. In you is true magic, connecting you to the web of all creation. Each strand woven on your behalf is pure consciousness. Right now, you're being asked to remember this and feel what that means to you. And I love that, like who is breathing you? Just think about that when you're breathing. It's so automatic, right? Every single thing in your life is sacred and infused with the power of spirit, the conscious universe. Even your difficulties are infused with the sacred and are always beckoning you to remember who you truly are, an immortal, spiritual being having a mortal human experience. Can you see right now that whatever you're asking about has divinity sparking through it? Treat the subject of your query with reverence and step into the sacred dance. You cannot go wrong. You're meant to have this experience right now. Scorpio. We have that full moon in Scorpio coming up. This is card 41. And you have weavers watch the dragon fly. Is it dragonfly or dragons fly? Right? The essential meaning here is being the observer, curiosity, seeing the big picture, not taking anything personally. Sometimes we get so involved in our feelings about things, we begin to believe we are those emotions. They become part of our identity, part of our story forever. Instead of understanding the transience of opinions, we become trapped in our beliefs about the world and our part in it. Those ideas harden and stiffen until they form a tight container around our possibilities. While a container could be a good thing, we can find ourselves trapped in an old story. A good question to ask now about the subject you want this oracle to illuminate is, what am I making this mean? What if you removed your assumptions? Like what meaning are you putting on certain things? What if nothing is ever personal? Now is the time to look at your situation and see it for what it is. Step back and look at the bigger picture. Remain neutral and curious, and be willing to explore it from a different perspective. There is so much more to discover here. So it's important not to get caught up in being right or getting caught in the smallest details that obscure a more expansive potential. Even the most joyful times, you can still run the risk of thinking it will always be that way, when everything will change and evolve, even transcend this forever place, because that is the truth of life. You're on a beautiful journey, and if you remain open and hopeful and willing to discover new things that are unknown to you, that gift of curiosity will lead you to treasure beyond your wildest dreams. Like the dream weavers, watch the dragons fly. So should you observe your inner and outer worlds. In the same manner, when you really learn to pay attention and can say, that's interesting, the hidden doors of perception swing wide. Such wisdom has always lived inside you. Did you know that you were so fortunate? Stay open. Sagittarius, you have card number 22, another master number, surfing rainbows on the moon. The essential meaning of this card is the power of imagination when led by inspiration and intuition, the source of innovative thinking, being playful. You're at a place where no matter your inquiry, the answer is the same. It's time to be playful. Let curiosity lead and allow your imagination to help you dream without limits. You are a powerful co creator in this world, capable of so much more than you give yourself credit for. Even if you've come this far, you doubt whether you can ever achieve the life, the career, the relationship you really want. It's not that what you have isn't good enough, but is it all that have you placed limits on yourself or others in your mind? You have so much to give, so much within you that you haven't even touched the surface of it yet. Write down your dreams, your goals, your deepest desires for life, and play within them. Rehearse them as if you were there already. How do they make you feel? Have you considered who you'd need to become to experience all of this? The only limits you have exist in your own perception. Imagine you are surfing rainbows on the moon. Don't worry about how you'll get there. Just don't limit yourself, especially not now. Give wings to the vision for your life and commit to fly. Let the universe take care of the how. When you let your imagination soar, you discover that miracles can and do come true. Capricorn, you have card number 30, and it is Beyond Your Fears, the Weaver's Dance. The essential meaning is the negative effects of prolonged fearful thoughts, moving out of fight or flight freeze, being courageous in spite of your fears. Beyond your fears, the dream weavers dance, weaving the beautiful patterns of your life into great weaving of all life. Fear, although a worthy self protective emotion, engages your fight, flight, freeze response. This trauma response, which also includes submit and cry for help, is not meant to be sustained for any prolonged period of time. Perhaps you've experienced something in your life that has you constantly on patrol. Your brain is in survival mode, always seeking potential threats, trying to keep you safe, but also cutting you off from your connection with spirit. It's hard to move past your fears if you've been conditioned to expect the worst. Your inquiry now is shining a light on the idea of false evidence appearing real, rather than something actually worthy of fear. Take several deep breaths and release the catastrophe in your mind. There is nothing to worry about. Allow for what is to be what is. Now is the time to trust life, to trust yourself, and to trust the universe. Release your fears to the divine and step forward. You might feel vulnerable, maybe a bit exposed, but you will regain your confidence and sense of humor quickly. Now dust yourself off, stop ruminating, take a media break, and gaze into the field of potential that surrounds you. It's all about where your attention goes, isn't it? It's pretty cool. I think that's a good one for everybody. Aquarius, you have card number 23. So big changes also ahead for you. And you have painting joy across the sky. The essential meaning here is joy in all forms, loving life, being grateful, sharing joy, and reverence for all life. Life can be a sticky place some days where safety and trust may not come easily. How do you trust a world that is changing so rapidly, where people seem more and more disconnected from each other, from nature, and from spirit? You work hard and hope for the best, but you can easily just be disheartened and disappointed. Yes, life is a struggle and it can be unfair, hard, corrupt, and hopeless, but it's simultaneously hopeful, brilliant, trustworthy, good, and beautiful. Nothing will ever be perfect, but neither will it ever be permanent. Can you bring your attention to the beauty of the cosmos of nature and all her inhabitants? To see the beauty within each person you encounter? Can you remember that joy is a perception, a perspective, and an action? Breathe in and tune into the energy of gratitude. Choose to be kind and compassionate citizen of the world, regardless of the challenges surrounding you. Give freely of your heart, then you will know how to paint joy across the sky. Joy doesn't need the outer world to behave. In fact, the greatest expression of joy can arise from your deepest sorrows. Remember that joy is an energy and a contagious one at that. When you cultivate it, spread it freely, the outer world will reflect it back to you in a form that is so beautiful and meaningful. Choose joy today, and soon you'll note how much richer and fulfilled you are. In fact, more reasons to be joyful will spring up in your outer world the more you pay attention to joy. And last but not least, we have Pisces, and this is card number 14, which also adds to a 5, and that indicates big change. And your card is all the magic everywhere. The essential meaning for this is abundance, prosperous potential, and being responsible. The law of abundance is operating in your life now. You are in a time of great potential possibilities. It's as if everything you've been working for, wished for, and hoped for has brought you to this moment. Synchronicities are everywhere. If you've been open, pay attention. This is your time to fully immerse yourself in the beauty of your life while trusting that all your needs will be met. Magical energy works through you for the highest good of all. What is most important now is for you to have clarity on what you genuinely want to manifest and experience in your life. Be sure you're willing to take responsibility for this and go the distance to care for your co creation. What do you need to believe for you to receive all the riches that you deserve? Can you take a moment to define what abundance means to you? Is it financial prosperity, love, good health, or creative achievement? Be careful what you wish for because now is the time for your dreams to come true. All the magic everywhere is yours to experience. And I'm going to stop sharing. And I'm back. And I know this was a long video, but I wanted to give you all a good, really good card reading. And I hope you enjoyed that. So I think I've said pretty much everything that I wanted to say. I recommend if you've made it this far, and maybe I'll have to put that in my write-up. Every card was really excellent for everybody. I feel like every one of these cards had some powerful message that we can all take and use in the coming months. So, if you have any extra time, listen to the other cards. Maybe I should just start featuring these like one card a day. This is a really great deck. It's inspirational, especially in a time that the world is in so much chaos. So I think that's about it. So let's see. I really need to do the Saturn in Aries video, and that will be followed by June. And then we have Jupiter moving into Cancer, and then July with Uranus moving into Gemini for about 8 years. That's going to be pretty powerful. And it's a little scary because of war themes from the past. So I really wanted to take a sabbatical for the entire summer. But if I work hard enough through the end of the month, I could maybe record all of those videos in advance. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe and like and comment my video. I really kind of also want to do some videos where I'm bringing on maybe some of you. We could sit down and have a discussion about world events, what's going on in the astrology, maybe take a look at your chart, and we can help other people out that might have similar planets in those signs. I've been kind of toying with the idea. So maybe if you're interested in coming on and chatting with me, um, reach out to me, through Facebook Messenger, Instagram, like DM me. And if I know you, I will probably get back to you sooner than somebody I don't know, unfortunately, but we'll see how that goes. Because I get, like, have to filter out all the notifications. But yeah, let's try and maybe do something a little fun, a little creative, and do some charts together. I would love to collaborate and co-create with some of you. I think that that could be a lot of fun for all of us, and we can learn some astrology, right? All right. So until next time, thanks for watching. Bye.